for clarity and wisdom. We continue to seek after your heart and your face in all things. And Father, as your Spirit moves us, may we continue to be obedient to your leading. Thank you for people who are interested in knowing what's going on, and we have answers that, to the best of our ability, but also the way we interact, may we honor you. Thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Just some quick housekeeping. We'll do introductions here in a minute, but just to let you know, we got obviously live audience here. We have one virtual audience with Kathy Hogan on the Zoom call. So we'll be kind of trying to focus on both of you, but we'll take any questions and answer any questions from the live audience first, and then we'll open it up to our virtual audience for any other questions. But we'll give a quick update on where things are, and then really we're here to answer your questions as to where we are, where we're going with the BUV. So with that, you want to start introductions, or everybody that doesn't know us?
Oh, sure. I'm Pastor Eric, and I'm part of the project since the inception, more than 8 years ago now.
Mark Seitz, Chair of the Elder Board.
Josh Stewart.
Jason Edward Winters the first.
Nice.
Third? First.
Okay. Anthony Corey. Ron Hardesty.
And then in the audience, we'll start over here.
Yes, Mark McPetrie.
Back.
Trevor Augustus.
And then Sean
Patrick Hogan the first.
Nice. And then
A couple of firsts.
yeah, the person responsible for you on the TV, Kathy. Say hello.
And Sean's iPad.
Can't do it.
She's muted again.
She's muted again. You gotta unmute yourself.
Press the space bar and you should be able to talk. Just hold the space bar down like a walkie. Oh, you're gone.
Nice going, Sean. Way to hang up in your mom.
Wow.
Just kidding, Mom.
The exit button. I mean,
Yeah, it's right
it's
next
the
to
same.
it.
No, not at all.
Okay, well,
That's funny.
You're gone.
And
Bye.
I'm still here, but I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, you're still there. We just didn't see you.
Maybe you just minimized it, Sean, or something?
Okay, well, I can listen.
all
Okay.
right.
Okay.
That's okay. I'm ugly. So go ahead.
She probably still see us. Maybe.
Oh,
All right. Well, we'll give you a quick update. Why don't Josh, you want to give us an update where we are with the permitting process? Okay, just as a reminder, this is for our bridge and atrium project, which is between this building and the main worship center. We received a modification to our major use permit to allow us to rephase the improvements within the project, building projects that we've had on our kind of our master plan for some time. And as one of the requirements of that modification to the major use permit, we had to complete phase 1 improvements within a certain time frame. And that part of that, it was requiring us to get, of course, a building permit prior to that, and then, which is what we've been working towards for the last several years. We are close. And then, Josh, where are we on that?
So the last kind of hurdle that we had was relinquishing access to Ash and 78 that the county asked us to do. It is in the final paperwork stage that the county now has to relinquish access. The interesting thing is, and I think I said this last time, but that we already had relinquished access to 78 years ago. So that was something that we didn't have to worry about, but we had to relinquish access on Ash Street, which is basically telling us saying that we'll never have another driveway access points to our church. So that was part of the agreement that we had to settle on in order to get our building permit. So we're, as we keep saying, we think this is the last hurdle since we've been there a couple times and other things have popped up. But we believe that this is the last hurdle before we get permits. So we're running side by side,
Yeah.
Trying to see what the church is going to do, but also doing what we can in order to move forward.
And the clock is running in terms of our permit. We have a certain time frame once to get our permit and get construction completed. It's basically a 3-year time frame. Started in September of this year, and we have to make continual progress along the way, theoretically, to keep that permit open and active. So there are certain requirements that we have financially to meet in order to do that, and we set those out in a couple of letters earlier this fall describing the commitment that we made as your elder board to move forward only under certain conditions. And these mainly go back to the foundation of our whole building program and our fundraising campaign as to we will not be borrowing money to move this project forward. We will not be selling this project as from an emotional sales marketing standpoint. A number of certain key decisions that we made as we felt going forward that were important. So we brought this to our church family as a decision to make as a family, and in moving forward, we had originally a giving campaign that based on the budget of the project that we understood it to be at that time, which was $450,000. We asked for 85% in pledges. We exceeded that. At that time, the decision was made. We're going forward with the process to continue the fundraising as well as to move into the building permit and getting the plans approved going forward. Since that time, it's been about over 2 years now. The cost of the project has gone up for a number of reasons, primarily cost of materials, but also a more detailed cost estimate was prepared by our contractor and architect. And then we kind of tapered back some of the things that were in there to try and save costs. But the new budget is currently at $650,000. $650,000. So it went up significantly over those couple of years. So that raised our fundraising bar quite a bit in terms of what we needed to raise. And so that's why we spent a fair amount of time praying and thinking on terms of how are we going to move this forward. And we came to this approach again of not moving forward until we knew we had money in hand. And so we have initiated now basically a 2 benchmark protocol that we're going to look at in moving forward. The first is to have 75% of the project budget in cash before we start construction. So that would equate to $490,000 cash on hand. We currently have raised a little over $355,000, but we have just under $220,000 now. Some costs have contributed to lowering that balance. So we're roughly at about a 273 was the effective budget relative to the 490 we have as our benchmark. So a little over halfway to where we need to be by March 1st. That's our goal, is to start construction in spring of next year. Again, we don't want to keep chasing the cost of this project as it escalates and month after month, year after year, as we're hearing more and more issues with materials and steel and glass and concrete. All of the costs continuing to rise, labor costs as well. So we don't want to keep chasing this year after year, wait until we have enough money. So we set this benchmark as of March 1st. If we're going to have the cash on hand plus the remaining 25%, $160,000 in pledges that would be collected or given by the end of next year, by the end of 2021. So those 2 benchmarks are what we're going forward with now as our kind of our fleece that we're putting out there to say if we can achieve these 2 conditions, then we will move forward with construction shortly thereafter. And construction schedules 6 to 9 months is what we're anticipating, not a long construction schedule. So that doesn't give us a lot of room for cash flow. We can't raise a lot of money during that period of time. So we have to have, as we said, we have to have 75% of it up front with the expectation we can raise the rest of it. So we reinitiated our pledge drive. Basically, we wanted to start over with a clean slate, so to speak. Say, I know for those of you that have been pledging and have been giving faithfully over the last several years, we appreciate it. That's why we've been able to collect money that we have. But we're asking everybody to re-pledge so we now know for sure, what that pledge commitment is for the next year. And again, hoping that we can move forward, but trusting that God is going to move within our church family and one way or the other. And if the decision is we can't go forward any longer because we just don't have the finances to meet the new project, there are options that we're pursuing with the county right now to not lose what we've gained in terms of the modifications to the major use permit. We have submitted a letter to the county requesting basically a variance. It's really acknowledgement of the work that we've already done, not only the money we spent, but the time and effort that we've spent, as kind of basically giving us credit for that and achieving that first phase commitment. And it's a requirement in the major use permit called a use of reliance. Right? Use of reliance.
Use and reliance. Yep.
Use in reliance. Basically, I think they just want to know we're serious, and so they require this first phase to be completed, and that locks in the major use permit. And the risk is if we don't, then we would fall back to our previous major use permit. And so we made this request for them to have consideration of the effort the investment we've already made in this process to say, yes, you have met that condition. And as the county has been throughout this process, not necessarily as quick to reply as we would like them to be. We're still waiting for that response. We've had some communication with them that they are at least considering it. They come back with us with a question as to our commitment to move forward. And we assured them that is our desire and our expectation that we will move forward, and that we've spent X amount of dollars and hours on this. So we have no intention of just stopping it now. So that is a potential fallback if the money doesn't come out. That at least locks us in to be able to do this sometime in the future. But again, we really want to avoid this chasing this budget year after year after year. It's not it's good or healthy for any of us. So there will be considerations as to what to do after March 1st. We'll have to we'll be meeting and deciding on what the options are once we get there and where we are if we haven't met one or both of these benchmarks. We've made a commitment that for those that have given money to the project, and if the project is not going to move forward, then you will have the option to request your money to be returned. You'll get a prorated percentage back. If we spent, say, 15-20% of the total that's been given, you'll be given the 80% or 85% back for what you provided, and that's going to be your decision to make. We want to be forthright and transparent, and it's not something we will be required to do, but we want to honor your faithfulness and what the money was given for a specific purpose, and we want to honor that. So if a donor does request a return, then we'll honor that. And then there are many other projects that we can certainly apply that money towards here on the campus, but we're a ways away from having to make that decision quite yet. But we've scheduled these meetings to just be here for you. So I'm gonna shut up. Anybody want to add to anything I've said, Pastor? Yeah.
No, you recapped the history really well. It was each of the, I think it was 8 or 9 principles that we drew up were based on the elders spending months in study and looking at how God deals with buildings. There's nothing in the New Testament or New Testament buildings. There were 4 building projects in the Old Testament, and we drew out of that models or examples of how God had his people operate through each of those 4 construction things. So that's why we came up with these principles that we adhere to.
And it's been very important for us because we're all invested in this emotionally as well as otherwise. So we want to see this go through more than anybody. But sometimes when these just hard decisions have to be made, you know, the emotions can kind of encourage you to do things that maybe go beyond your comfort zone. So these foundational principles that Pastor mentioned have been very important to us to, so we can, every decision that's made, we go back and, you know, and make sure we're following and complying with what we said we were going to do from the beginning. These benchmarks are very important in that reason, for the reason as well, to say that, you know, help us make those decisions down the road where we don't, you know, when we get in too much of a gray area and, you know, our emotions want to, you know, build it and they will come kind of in a theology. You know, it's been very helpful, I think, in guiding us. Anybody else need to add? No? Okay. All right, well, we're here for you. So any questions you guys might have as to where we've been, where we are, and where we're going, we'll entertain those for as long as you want, or until 1 o'clock, whichever comes first.
I'll just say 12:45.
Or 12:45. I'll stay till 1, Josh.
What you're saying and what the project involves, basically we're trying to hook these two buildings together.
Right.
And we had talked about at one point so the elevator could be used here from walkway from either windows on that end of the Sunday school building over to the windows to the second floor there.
Right.
That would be an enclosed walkway.
It would not on the second floor. We looked into that, and structurally and mainly from a cost standpoint, it was going to be very expensive to enclose that in. Although we do have thoughts on how we can provide like
Some weather
awnings or weatherproofing coverages that are not permanently affixed to the building. So that helps us from a structural standpoint and permitting standpoint, but it still gives the protection from sun or rain during different times of the year.
The thing I'm thinking of, working with kids and kids climb on, it wouldn't be a situation where we could have kids go climb up it and fall to their death by falling off of that and landing on the cement below.
That would certainly not be part of our design now.
I'm
Not to allow that
I
yet.
know not part of the diesel, but
Yeah.
part of the protection
Sure.
coming in. Because,
Railings and other protection, yes, is pretty
you
good.
know, I know working with kids, they climb over everything.
Yep.
You know, especially boys, and I think girls are the same way. They want to climb on it, and if I can climb on it, I'll get up on it, not realizing that if I slip, I'm gonna really get hurt.
Yeah, that's certainly been a major part of our concern as well in that regard. That's been incorporated into design, and we have to meet all, you know, county codes and guidelines for that, you know, for safety and ADA and all that.
Yep.
So the area below the atrium is closed. It'll become part basically of our entrance into both buildings, and give us a lot more flexibility in how we do welcoming, how we do social gathering when we are able to do that again, with coffee bars and different things like that, where we can have again indoors. So right now, our coffee and donuts and beverages are outside when weather permitting. When it's not, we have to move them. So this would give us a kind of a permanent station to allow us to do that a little more efficiently. But really, the motivation behind it was that getting that ADA access to the worship center upstairs for those that are doing the youth and other classes that are being held up there. We've had situations before where, you know, either teachers or students couldn't get up there because, or it would have to be carried literally up the stairs to get to those facilities.
Sean got yelled at by a firefighter once.
Yep. You're not doing it right.
For not having an elevator. I didn't design the building.
So even though we have an exempt, we're grandfathered in from having that as a requirement, we feel it's something that's important that we do provide, whether we're required to or not, to do our ministry as effectively as we can be. So that was really the primary motivation for it. We have to keep reminding ourselves of that because it gets overwhelmed with all the other logistics and the permitting and just the over and over and over again with new requirements from the county that we just keep going. There's a reason we're doing this. There's a reason we're doing this, you know, and it's something that we do feel is of value, but obviously if we don't go forward with it, we'll continue to do our best to find ways to go without it. Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
So I know that you guys have been working on this for a while, and I'm very new to Mountain View, so I don't think I have that strong of an opinion, but I just want to toss it out. I know that ADA is important, and that would be very beneficial for all the ministries to be able to have that. Is it a possibility, if you thought, I'm assuming you may have thought about like skipping the atrium and in the elevator?
Mm.
Yeah, and we looked at that initially as an alternative, of course. At the time, I don't know that we've readdressed the cost difference, but it was going to be a lot more expensive to do the elevator, not only for the construction, but the maintenance. What do we spend on the maintenance of the elevator?
Some $400 or $500 an hour for
Yeah.
maintenance on this elevator here.
Wow.
And that's on monthly.
That's standard.
Yeah, so it's not cheap just having one elevator, let alone two. So it was something that at the time we felt it was more economical to do the bridge. The atrium doesn't really cost that much more because all the main cost of the structure is in the bridge itself. So closing in basically the two walls, because we already got the two buildings, we just have to add basically two more walls to it when we have an enclosed atrium. Didn't add a lot of cost to the project. So, the bridge itself, compared to a new elevator, was still cheaper.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a worthy consideration, but penciled out more expensive, not only initially, but in the long run as well.
Right. No, that makes sense.
Which is important to
Yes.
a church,
Yes.
to those
Monthly bills.
annual costs.
Yeah.
We have to budget for these building projects. We can do campaign fundraising for, but typically long-term costs we have to build into our budgets.
Yes.
And that's all based on giving. So.
Question?
Yeah.
Good question, thank you.
What else?
Kathy, if you're awake, any questions from you? We can't see you, so.
I don't think you can hear me, right? Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Now we can.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Hi.
I see me. I don't know. No, I don't really have any questions. I was just sitting here feeling very blessed by the elders of our church, and I understand all of the work and all of the heartache you've been going through, all of the paperwork. I understand that getting permits, especially in the state of California, is really rough. And I just wanted you to know that, of course, we're praying about it. And I also wanted to say that it seems like the county should give you a break on the permit because of this COVID thing going on. We really can't do any like other types of fundraising because we can't have big group settings. So hopefully they will give you that break. And so I just want to thank you all for all the hard work that you've been doing. And I can picture this, and I just really think it's going to happen. So
Thank you,
anyway,
Kathy.
wish I was there.
Appreciate it.
We wish you were here too.
Yeah.
I'll slap Sean for you.
Okay.
I think she said thank you.
Yeah. I think
Somebody
it's
said
something we're obviously going to continue to be in prayer about. That we're invested in this. It's going to be tough. It would be tough to not see it go through, but we just continue to trust that God's will is going to be done one way or the other, and that we just need to continue to stay focused on that. Not what we want, but what He wants. And if it aligns, we'll be starting construction. I'll be maybe about done this time next year.
Yeah.
If not, then we'll be doing something else better, right? But we're continuing to have more of these meetings. We're trying to be as available as possible. Doing a little bit of a every 2 weeks, we're putting some sort of new information out there, whether it's in our announcements or with the live and virtual Q&A. So if we're here to answer any questions, you can reach out to us through the office, or if you have contact information directly anytime, or just stop any of us as you see us and ask questions. There are, I said, I think everybody hopefully has gotten a message now about the new pledge cards. They're in the back of the Welcome Center area, or the I guess
Auditorium.
the auditorium, the
Worship
foyer of the worship center. Or you can give online. Do we have the online giving set up yet? Is that ready to go, where we can pledge online? Do we know yet?
I believe so.
I know we were working towards that, trying to make it as easy as possible for people to pledge. We are, again, looking for that between now and March 1st. So right now it's been pretty slow. We had some initial pledges come in. We had 22 pledges come in the last, 3 months?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if people are waiting to come in at the last minute and save the day, or if they're just continuing to think and pray. It's tough times. I mean, financially, it's tough for a lot of people, so we understand that, and we're asking this at a very difficult time. And trusting that God's going to provide for us as well as for all those that give, as He's promised to do. And we're moving forward with that hope and expectation.
There's I think a little bit of a surprise. So some people are probably thinking, well, why not just wait a little longer, let our current situation resolve itself. This timeline was posed upon us long before 2020 happened. So it's not a negotiable item for us as far as we know with the county.
Yeah, and we did provide some of that, I think, in our letter request to the county for the acceptance for the use and reliance provision that we burdened our congregation already, considerably to get to where we are, and to ask them to do more at this time is difficult, for everybody. So but we're continuing forward regardless. Is there another question?
Would you like to make something up?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you all. Appreciate you being here. And you got anything else you may want to add on the days?
I'm just trying to tell him to shut up. And
Yeah.
Sounds good. Everybody's good. All right. Well, we don't need to drag this on. Thank you. Appreciate your attending. And Jason, can you close us in prayer?
Yeah, we'll do that. Well, Jesus, we love you and thank you for our time together. And God, we do truly just lay this in your hands. Lord, we can't control what the county does. We can't control, Lord, the pandemic stuff. And Lord, we realize that we are in your hands, and Lord, we can rest in your hands, and we can rest in your will. So Lord, we place this handed totally over to you, and just pray, God, that your will be done, and God, that we are submissive, Lord, to what your will is. And thank you for those who have sacrificed and given over and above the regular giving, Lord, for this project. And Lord, just pray, God, that you bless them. Help us to have wisdom, Lord, on what to do as we move forward. And Lord, maybe love each other, and may kindness and patience and all of those fruits of the Spirit, Lord, just be seen as we lead and work together. We love you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate your